before I finish them out and put them away, I wanted to walk you through my 2019 planners, what planners I ended up actually using, and how I used them.
Okay, in 2019, I used three planners. One of them was an A5 ring bound planner, this guy right here. I used this from January all the way until about September before I lost interest in it, which is a good amount of time to be using a planner. I'm going to walk you through it really quickly in a moment here. And then the second planner that I used from September on was this Inkwell Press Planner. It's a disc bound planner. It has a happy planner cover on it because I had not bought a formal cover for it, but I've been using this since September. Throughout the year, I've also used this happy planner, and this happy planner is specifically for tracking all of our travels. I guess would fall into the memory keeping category, but I don't really think of it as a planner. I think of it more as a journal. So let me walk you through these really quick, and then I'll reveal my 2020 planner. So something that I love in a planner is I really like being able to decorate and make dashboards. It's one of my favorite things to do. I like just being able to be creative and try something completely new. Ta-da! I like it having a fresh look and just being completely different. What I did use and find to be helpful were these inserts. These were inserts that I purchased and printed myself from the Planner Sophisticate, and they were really helpful. I was doing a really good job for a long time tracking things like when we had planner meetups, what I was doing in my business, when I was working my part-time job, I was tracking the hours in here too. I left that job around, I guess I was still doing that job during this time because this is back in July. I tracked when we were traveling and a little bit of what we were watching TV wise in here as well. You can see I was using a fair amount of stickers, but not so many stickers that it's overwhelming. Oh, how fun. Happy 39th birthday to me back in July. So this was kind of the way that I was using these. The tip out was helpful. I really liked it, but you can see a lot of them are empty, so I wasn't really using a lot of future planning and to-do list kind of things, which was my whole purpose for printing these things out. A couple of the inserts that I had in here was I had a goal setting insert, and then I also had book reviews. I like to do little book reports on the books that I read, and so I had that in here as well. And then at the very end, I also had little notes for myself, ideas of things. I had the intention of using a daily, but I found that just being in the RV, my schedule didn't warrant me needing to do a daily planner, so these pages largely went unused here. So I really loved being in an A5. For me, in a planner is being able to take things out and put things back in because I am fickle and I do change my mind a lot. So being able to change pieces out in a planner is really important to me. For the first few years that I was creative planning, I really tried to stick to a spiral bound planner, but over time, I really kind of had to admit to myself that I like being able to take things in and out. Now, I'm going to move that one to the side, and I'm going to bring over this one. So this is my memory keeping planner that I've been tracking all of our travels on. I started this in July. We launched in May, which was when we moved into full-time RVing. I didn't begin this back in May. I just started it in July, mostly because I found it in May, and I wasn't planning on documenting our travels this way. I didn't really know how I was going to document our travels, but once I set this up, I realized that this was a fun way to be able to track this. And so this is not fancy. This is not overly decorated. This is mostly just journaling. Each month, I try to write down what our monthly goal was, and I do this at the end of the month, so it's kind of a way to do a quick highlight of everything that happened. I am writing our dates down on when we went to different places, and then a little recap of how many miles we traveled, where we were in the month, and any fun things that we did that were interesting to me. If you followed Tabby, she's amazing. She talks about commonplace books. She spoke at an event that I hold called Plancation this past year, and she talked a lot about when you're doing memory keeping, what you're thinking about for the future, and who it is that you're making this for. So I realized that I would be making this kind of as a memory book for my daughter on what my perspective of our journey is. So I'm trying to keep her in mind as I'm going through and doing this. I think that this
whole RV trip has been such a cool process that I really wanted to be able to have something that documents it. Now, I haven't been printing pictures out, so you're not going to see any pictures in here. But the way that I've been treating this is basically I start at the beginning of the month saying where we're at as we move. I share that as well and just kind of document that. And then I try to track the number of days that we're at. And if there's something fun that we did, then I put that in there as well. And then on the weekly pages, so this is a horizontal planner right here, meaning that it goes left to right. I've struggled to find use for a planner like this, even though I think that it's a great idea. My brain just doesn't think that way when it comes to writing plans down, so I don't use it in that way. That's why journaling was perfect, because it allowed me to just journal a few lines about what happened in the day, not overthink it, and be able to just move through it quickly. So I had attended a planner event in 2017 in Nashville, so I had some Nashville stickers that were left over. These are just Happy Planner sticker books that I pieced together here, and then a stamp that I bought at Michael's for traveling. So I'm not going to flip through this whole thing, but a couple of things that you'll see that I've been tracking. I've been tracking the weather everywhere that we go, and I've been tracking the day that we are on our trip. Again, I haven't gotten too wild with this. It does have some decorations in it, but I've really done my best to just try to preserve what is actually happening in our weeks and days with this. You can see I just kind of carry it on, keeping it simple. This is an 18-month planner, so we're planning on traveling until the end of 2021, so this should carry me through at least until this carries me through until the end of 2020. So I'll have to get one more of these as long as we keep going. But this planner seemed like it was kind of perfect for this travel, saying that life is a journey and not a destination. When I found it, I was like, oh, gotta have it. I feel like Stephanie Fleming made that just for me. All right, so this is a planner that I used in 2019 from September until December. This is a Happy Planner cover with Happy Planner rings, but inside it's an Inkwell Press classic layout. I'll show you what that means here in just a second. This is a planner that I started using from September to December. It's one I've used in the past. I actually started using this planner in 2015, and I have used it through 2018 off and on. But what I like about this planner is I like that it has this mission board. So at the beginning of the month, I write down all the things that are important to me, kind of gather my thoughts for what the month holds, and be able to set my intentions. Not all of this stuff happens, but this is what my intention is for the month. So I take the time to write this down. When we are RVing, I write down the addresses to where it is that we're headed, any reservation information that I need. Sometimes we are in areas where we don't have Wi-Fi, so it's important for me to know what the heck is going on. The other thing that I've tried to do is start to adopt the philosophy of automating my tasks. So things that I know that I'm going to do, like cleaning, grocery shopping, laundry, I'm trying to map those out. Oh, even things like this is the sticker that I use for grading my daughter's schoolwork. Stuff like this, I like to put on the monthly view. That way I can just take a quick look at it and know what days are busier for me and which days are lighter. If we have events like this, I had an event that I was speaking at, the candy shop, which was a planner meetup in Portland, Oregon. I was able to map that out at the beginning of the month. The other thing I like to do for our travels is I've just been keeping it really simple and highlighting where it is that we're going to be and writing down the city. That way I know what is happening and I know what it is that is going on at a glance. I have been creative planning since 2015. I was a heavy sticker user, so I used to cover the whole page in stickers and only use half boxes like this to write different events. As I've gotten busier and as I've changed up the way that I've been planning in 2019, that has changed. And you can see that I'm starting with using stickers to signify an activity that I'm doing and to trigger to-do lists that are work related. So the sticker I'm using corresponds with the activities right below it, and this has made it simpler for me to at a glance know that my day is a little bit of my daughter's work, a little bit of my work, and we have things happening related to our RVs. This is a sticker that I use to track my cycle. So you can see I don't do a lot of budgeting in my planner. You're not going to see that here. I use online software to do that. And you're not going to see all of my appointments for my business either. I use a tool, I use Google Calendar and Calendly for those things because I use an auto scheduler where people can pick their appointments. So I don't necessarily need to put those appointments in here. This is really more of a task-oriented planner instead of a task-oriented and personal appointments instead of managing my business out of this. I see that question asked a lot, how do you manage your business out of this? And I know that there's people that are doing that, but with the way that I book appointments, it's just not possible for me to manage all of that stuff in here. So I do bigger picture stuff in my planner, and that's my goal. The other reason that I like setting up my planner this way is that when there's a lot of stuff going on in a day, I know that the day is full. There's not space for me to squeeze things in. You can see that Thursdays and this Sunday in particular, I didn't have a lot of stuff going on. So it was easier for me to be able to track what I had going on. I'm flipping ahead just a little bit to see if I can find another good example of a week for you. Here's another great example here. I've been walking through and just with a simple mild liner, writing a line to signify what's going on, and then adding a little sticker at the beginning of the week to track what's happening. So planning for me used to take me a couple hours to lay down all the stickers, pick out all the accessory stickers, and it became such a big process that I wasn't getting as much done as what I had intended to. The creativity for me kind of went away in it as well. So this is a lot more functional for me. This is getting me back to the basics of using my planner and touching my planner every day. A couple of things that I love about this is that the bulk of my week is Monday through Thursday. So having the bulk of the week on one day, my planner ends up sitting like this on my day and then flipped over this way on the other side. If I have a weekly focus, something that I'm trying to track or work on specifically, I'll put it right here. I typically don't have 5 things, even though the planner has the columns for the 5. I just usually have 3. Like this is 1, 2, 3, and I guess 4. This is usually simple things that I'm trying to get taken care of. The last thing is being able to write little notes. Anything that I didn't get done in this week, my intention is to write it right here. That way I can just move it on to the next week as I go. So this is how I've been using the planner to track my daughter's homework assignments. Every week I go in and I write down what she's supposed to be getting taken care of for the week. And then once it's completed and I've graded it, I just come back in and highlight it. Sometimes I get a little bit behind in grading, or she gets a little bit behind because we end up being busy or we get hung up on a lesson. So I just want to make sure that we're staying on top of lessons as we're going. And this is kind of my sanity to make sure that that's happening. There's been a few times that we've gotten behind and she and I have been really on top of setting our weekly focus. I'm hoping to get back to that. You can see here, I'm hoping to get back to doing some of those things and just get a little bit more focused on helping her better complete her homeschool in the upcoming months. But I've obviously been distracted with launching a podcast book, and this has been helping me just keep sane as I've been going along. So I hope you enjoyed this video. My 2019 planners are getting ready to be put on the shelf, but I've already recorded my 2020 planner lineup video, so check that out right here.